Thus, in the current status quo, sports have been increasingly commercialized. The question we are faced with today is whether this commercialization is beneficial or detrimental. For clarification, commercialization of sports refers to a transformation of sports into a profit-driven industry, emphasizing financial gain over the fundamental principles of sportsmanship, fair play, and community engagement. Stakeholders in this debate include athletes, sports fans, sporting associations, corporations, and the broader society that is impacted by the commercialization of sports. In this debate, it's crucial to acknowledge that the purpose of sports should not solely revolve around profit. As a government, we firmly stand for preserving the true spirit and essence of sports, ensuring accessibility for all, regardless of financial status. Our criterion for today's debate is preservation of essence of sportsmanship, fairness, and community engagement. We believe that true value of sport lies in the integrity, fairness, and the spirit of competition rather than the financial gain. As a government, we firmly believe that commercialization of sports should be regretted due to a detrimental impact it has on the integrity, fairness, and spirit of sportsmanship. Our first argument is about the purpose of sports. Before I move on to the first argument, alternate APIs. 3, 2, 1. Assuming that the other side has argued for my introduction and those kind of stances, I will move on to my argument. Our first argument is about the purpose of sports. We, the government, recognize that the purpose of sports extends beyond making money. Sports are about competition, the relationship between countries and individuals, in fostering a sense of unity and friendship. When sports become commercialized, the true essence of sportsmanship is compromised if the focus shifts from the joy of playing to making money. Even if the commercialization generates profits, it comes at the expense of the core values of sports. When sports are driven by financial incentives, it compromises true essence of the term sportsmanship and detracts from the value of competition, friendship, leadership values, unity that sports should promote. The impact of commercializing sport is far-reaching. It erodes the spirit of sportsmanship, destroys the relationship between countries and individuals, and turns sports into business rather than a source of unity and joy. It accommodates athletes, exploits fans, and undermines the fundamental principles that sports should do. Yes.
Without commercialization, how does your side garner financial support to maintain these industries and apps flourish?
Oh, I have a really good answer to the POI. I will answer that in my second argument. And so, for instance, consider some examples. Like, I really like to watch soccer, and there's this World Cup happening every 4 years, which is called FIFA World Cup. What was this World Cup was once a celebration of global unity and love for the game, has now become a competition fueled by profit. This because sportsmanship, advertisement, and high ticket prices have shifted the focus away from the game itself and make it tarnishing the spirit of sportsmanship. The opposition may argue that commerce, this kind of benefits athletes and sports organization, but let's consider the real-world implications. Even if they're right, the commercialization of sports compromises the true essence of sportsmanship and detracts from the values of competition, friendship, and unity that sports should promote. Second argument is access. Our society must ensure that sports remain accessible to all, regardless of financial status. The commercialization of sport leads to increased costs, making it affordable for many, limits the opportunity for younger generations to pursue sports. Even if the commercialization generates profits, as I said, it results in increased costs, limiting access to sport, even events and facilities. This rise in costs excludes many from participating in enjoying sports, creating a barrier from younger children to younger generations to pursue sports, hindering the development of future athletes. The impact of commercializing sports is reducing inaccessibility. Higher costs include many individuals and families who experience sports events, depriving them of the joy and inspiration that sports bring. Additionally, it limits the opportunity for younger generations to pursue their dreams in sport, hindering the development of future athletes. For example, there's a young child who dreams of becoming a soccer player. Despite their passion and talent, their family can't afford the cost of training and equipment. The disparity in access limits the children's ability to pursue their dreams and hinders the development of future. Do you think it's believable that one can't be and try their dream that they want to be and want to come? Just if you agree with us, then we are proud to propose.
In the status quo, the culture of commercialization is often characterized as monetary support or funding. Such commercialization of profiting from an area of entertainment is the sole way to gain capacity to entertain people at greater lengths with sophisticated quality in doing so as well. Proud to oppose. Judge, before I begin to set some parameters in contextualizing opposition's case, a two-pronged analysis here. So first of all, we see that the role of commercialization in sports is actually vital, as it is the main thing that maintains sports industries, facilities, etc., to fund the success of athletic endeavors. Second, alternatively, the counterfactual of government world is debilitating and destructive, as it has absolutely no probability in efficiently working, and the maintenance of sports as an entertainment industry lacking adequate financial support is extremely slim. So responses against the PM will be of proposition will be integrated into my contentions, right? But moving on to my first contention, how does the better quality of commercialization proactively provide better benefits for the viewers of the entertainment and the sports industry itself? Two layers of analysis here. Judge, first, we see that the premise for this case is that money that is earned from the commercialization of sports will be used and utilized in diverse areas that can improve the quality of training facilities, rehabilitation centers, etc., for athletes in the very first place. However, on government side, because they don't have any commercialization of sports to begin with, there will be a degrading quality of education and facilities with less funding to improve the overall quality of where these athletes work in the first place. This results in two things. No, it makes the athletes lack motivation and incentive to create more advanced facilities, and B, a lack of such will harm the athlete's performance in the very first place. Judge, second, we reiterate on our side that we actually support monetary growth because more money from commercialization of sports goes into improving the qualities and facilities and training centers to help these athletes perform at the best of their quality, and at the quality of games improve, the benefits will translate into the tangible benefits as more viewers are incentivized to watch games in question, right? I'll take that later. This directly rebuts the PM's first point of integrity, seeing as sports would not exist in the first place, where commercializing maintenance for these industries in the first place prevail. So moving on to my second contention, how does the commercialization and the crux of it increase social awareness and helping the sports industry thrive, and in turn translates into tangible benefits for the economy of large countries running these sports industries, eventually decreasing economic disparities between two large figures in the world of sports and increasing awareness for developing countries. So two layers of analysis here. So first, Judge, we say that the actual premise of the factual that we said on our side includes that though the commercialization of sports and their industries, we largely benefit from the wealth of the economy. Judge, why do we say this here? 2 points. We say status quo sports industries play more than a significant role for fans or giving hope to young children. In fact, they play a large role in benefiting the economy of certain countries that take a leap start in dragging the momentum of these sports industries. This includes sports teams in the United States like the NBA, NFL, and MLB, which accounts for significant amounts of the economy and translates into benefits. B, we furthermore say that this is mutually exclusive because with the heightened quality of sports after commercialization, it is inevitable that sports industry, as more sophisticated athletic industries, will garner more attention worldwide. And that being said, we take the economic high ground here. But second of all, why do we say that we actually raise more awareness and decrease economic disparities solely on our world's case as well? Judge, we say that on our side, not only do we greatly benefit the economy, but we also reduce rich and poor disparity gaps between developing and developed countries. So why is this so? 2 points here, Judge. First of all, we see that many people in the NBA are developing countries, but through them become striving and successful. This could serve as an inspiration and akin to such, raise awareness for developing countries, mitigating economic disparities and raising awareness. This directly rebuts the PM's contention of accessibility, right? Commercialization helps sports reach a global audience, transcending global geographical and cultural boundaries. Through television broadcast streaming programs, digital media, etc., this globalization of sports not only increases revenue streams, but also promotes cultural exchange and understanding among very diverse audiences. And because we take the high ground on both these impacts, we say that we ultimately prevail in this debate. Proud to propose. Thank you.
Panel, commercialization is basically gambling because players can earn money after they win in the sport competition through higher pay from advertisement fee because they agree like that, selling more goods, etc., which we say is morally wrong. I'll be doing 3 main things in my speech. First of all, clarification. Second, revolves on rebuilds, and lastly, introducing our team's last argument. The point in today's debate is about who really is the stakeholder that is affected the most. To compare the two sides, I say that the sport companies and like sport players are going to earn less money, but on our side, we actually benefit a larger amount of stakeholder because a more amount of people will have access to watching it, meaning that we completely win over the scale of who is able to satisfy more stakeholders. To respond to the POI given by the opposite side on our PM speech is this: they seem to be thinking that we're totally banning the advertisement and higher interest fees in sports, which is definitely wrong motion. What ours is pursuing is a world where sports players do get comparatively a little bit less money than their side of the house. The reason why this is not really bad is because, again, they already earn so much money, so like this little money difference isn't going to make so like bad impact on them. And secondly, the motion literally said like as an example, charging lots of money for tickets. So it doesn't mean that we're completely banning it, right? So moving on to before moving on to rebuttals and rebuilds, are there any POIs? 3, 2, 1. Assuming that everyone has agreed to what I've said so far, I'll move on to rebuttals and rebuilds. Our first argument was about purpose of sports. Then they tell us that money earned through commercialization of sports will be used to train more. They seem to be debating in another motion again, because they're talking as if we were banning commercialization in the first place, but rather we're saying, we say that, which will further be elaborated on my argument, that commercialization of sports actually make it harder for sports players to develop their skills, because right now, even if they don't excel in their skills, they can still earn money through commercialization, which we say violates the purpose of sports. Their first argument was about, one of their points was about awareness. They argued that many players in MLB and NBA are from developing countries and that it will help them thrive, which is about, but we say this is really, really flawful, because this is about sports itself and getting known, not exactly about commercialization. Even without commercialization, if these sport players are actually able to excel in whatever sports they're playing, this can actually be achieved on our side of the house, and therefore this is not mutually exclusive, and we observe all of their main points. They also tell us that sports industry will thrive, and then this will benefit their wealth. They do, but we're saying that it is much better to actually earn money through skills, not just commercialization. So before moving on to my last argument again, are there any POIs? 3, 2, 1. Assuming that everyone has agreed to what I've said so far, and there clearly is no engagement, I'll move on to the last argument about spirit of sports. The sports industry should never be too reliant on commercialization and money earned through it. Note that the core of sports should always be focused on solely skills. This is what the opposite side of the house is growing into, because they basically are luring people to become sports players blinded by the money they earn and the money that will directly come into their pockets, not follow the spirit of sport itself. There follows a huge issue in this commercialization. This is because while in our subjects we're able to achieve a world where sports players are more engaged with earning money with their real skills, not just advertisements, their side of the house pursue such a dystopian world where people are only engaged with money. The benefits that our side can completely reach out to businesses, which is 1, improvement in skills. In a world where players can still earn money through simply commercialization through ads, players don't necessarily have to work too hard to earn money and continue the career, right? That's the world they portray, because on our side of the house, we comparatively lessen on ticket fees and ad fees, meaning that players will only try to improve their skills for money. This way, the reason why this is so beneficial is because we're able to satisfy the main stakeholders of today's debate, being the sport player. The reason why this is more likely than their side of the house, which they state that through the money that they earn more, they're able to train the sports player more, is because they sports players don't really exactly have an incentive on their side of the house to really improve. Secondly, ability to extend the player's career time. Like if everybody looks at money and just looks at money and like go into the career, they're not really going to last long on their job. And lastly, as I already mentioned in the beginning of my speech, this is basically gambling, because a lot of agreements are framed in a way where if the sports players like team thrives in a competition, the advertisement company gives more money, meaning that they're basically gambling. We say this is morally wrong, and therefore I've never been proud to stand on the government side of the bench. Thank you.
Judge, in the status quo, we face a myriad of struggles as an immediate effect of lacking adequate funding, especially in terms of the sports industries. Government provides no alternative to gaining monetary support and maintaining the sports industries and incentives, and in their counterfactual, these sports industries won't exist to all flourish with decreasing qualities and a complete lack of awareness. To post. Now, let's do some contextualization. First off, we assert that the commercialization of sports plays a crucial role in keeping sports industries and facilities viable and providing funding for athletes' successful pursuits and incentives and motivations of their goals. Second, on the other hand, the counterfactual side government that is incapable of operating effectively is crippling and destructive, and there's very little chance that sports will continue to exist as a viable form of entertainment in the absence of sufficient monetary funding, Judge. Now, moving on to rebuttal. They talked about how sports will extend beyond making money. Yes, we also agree with this. However, we say that this benefit of maintaining the essence of sports is not mutually exclusive on side gov. We say that, as our first speaker has more than clearly mentioned in her speech, we do this better. Then how is this so? Well, the mechanism here is that through the commercialization of sports, the monetary growth will be used to create better facilities, including training centers and rehab centers, which will in the long run help promote the essence of sports and the performance of the athletes even more better. No, thank you. Also, as the first speaker has also said, with the commercialization of sports, there will be improved global awareness and unification in these athletes, which will also aid in helping maintain the assets of sports, right? Besides, government points out all the problems of our solution, but they do not provide us with an solution to still maintain monetary funding in these sporting industries and to improve in these sports industries, right? They also talked about how there's no need for commercialization to improve awareness, and that athletes just have to excel to promote awareness. However, we say that there is, right? In fact, in the counterfactual that the side government attempts to promote, because they lack commercialization, the quality of sports industries, as our Elo touched upon, will steadily decrease, right? This will attend and become less attractive to the large amount of individuals in these developing countries view these sporting events like the NFL, NBA, right? Also, we say that the commercialization of the sporting events could also look like TV streams, like streaming these broadcasting services, TV streams of these sporting events, which will in the long run also help improve global awareness because it is more accessible to a wider variety of audience in this debate, right? Now, moving on, right? Judge, therefore, we say that we say that our side eventually prevails because through the commercialization of sports, we are better able to improve the quality of sports and athletes and create more economic benefits in this debate, right? We say that we ultimately prevail, propose, right? Now, moving on to our third argument about how it leads to more innovation and advancements, right? The premise of this argument here is that through the commercialization of sports, the country will be able to greatly advance and foster new innovations and technology. Judge, when important sporting events like the World Cup and Olympics are held in certain countries, whether they be developed or developing countries, these countries invest a lot of money into developing technology and creating better facilities, right? For example, the premise here and the reason why they do this is because of the commercialization of sports and because they want to provide the viewers with the best experience possible, right? For example, say Qatar, when it hosted the World Cup, it created a lot of new stadiums and also improved the overall quality of life of the locals and the visitors by implementing new technological innovations like monorails and roads. Also, through the Qatar World Cup, it made Qatar a more widely known place for visitors to come because of this World Cup. Therefore, we say that these sporting events not only help in improving awareness, but also help in adding and creating way more innovation and technological advancements in this debate, which is why we take this debate home more than proud to oppose. Thank you.
Two questions in today's debate. Which side provides a society that can help people enjoy sports as it is? Two, which side provides a society where sports can be admired by people? But firstly, the rebels. A, logic. They said that people will be able to know players from all around the world globally, but this does not stand because when people are not able to afford these tickets and people are not able to have attention in sports itself because it is too expensive and they can't afford it, then people won't be able to know the players from all over the world. B, they lack motion understanding. They gave us a burden to prove a counterfactual, but this is a regret motion and we will get the monetary aspects that exist in the current status quo. Why do we need to provide a counterfactual here? C, arguments. Firstly, we would like to define again that commercialization means that athletes only do their job because they seek money, not because they just want to do the sport itself. Money is the main reason why people do sports. They tell us that our counterfactual does not make sense because companies won't strive for wrong. This does not make sense because so long as sports players are skilled, the quality of sports won't just drop significantly, and they are basically only engaging with the most dystopian part of our side of the house. And also they tell us that minor developing countries will get more well-known, but we already said that this is not a mutually exclusive. They respond to this by saying that we have more money, they will train players to be better. We already rebutted this previously. Okay, they tell us that Quarter build more fields for sporting events, and we say back that, and we want to add on decommercialization, may actually make it harder for countries to survive because money is spent for its overly burdensome. Now, straightly going on to question 1, which type provides a society that can help people enjoy sports at the city? What was the origin of Olympics? It was in Greece, when people wanted to have fun and games. It wasn't because they wanted to earn money from it. We also believe that the opposition thinks this way too, but the view of each side has the methods of enjoying a sport was different. In our side, we believe that letting people use the sports facilities cheaper, letting them look at the sport games aesthetically, designing a sports player as a dream that can be fulfilled is what enjoying means. We have proof this by Jimin and so on. So going on. What was the view that the opposition has regarding this? They said the money is vital for sports because the money which are earned from commercialization will be used in enhancing the quality of sport facilities. This was their main push. We don't ban goods, we don't ban tickets. People buy sport tickets with the player's name on it, and the amount of these sales are more than enough. And we know that the South countries support at least as much as they can to express the name of the countries. For example, in a global soccer game, the country sent the players in a futuri, and they book a whole hotel building for them. And how more support does the opposition want? The next thing that they mentioned was that the country which hosts games will earn financial support. Do they need even more money? Remember, panel, this is such a one-dimensional view since the countries don't get benefited just by the ticket, but people go there and buy other things such as hotels, souvenirs, and etc. They spend money and cause effects to the society itself. If the ticket is expensive, however, which is happening in the opposition side, people will go there and be like, I spent too much money in the tickets. I can't buy anything more. I can't spend money on a good hotel. So their benefit actually does not exist. They only see the emotion in a one-dimensional view. Sorry, going on to question 2, which should provide a society where sports can be admired? In my school, I know it's the same for other schools. Students admire football players, basketball players, and many other types of athletes. Students dream of being a sports player, and this shows how people think of sports itself. However, if the price of tickets increase, the cost of sports facilities increase, athletes don't seem happy while gaming, people won't like them. Sports will become something that is to be ashamed of, not to be enjoyed of. The opposition said that people look at successful sport players who are rich and want to be like them. 2 flaws here. A, if it's expensive, the people who won't know about the sports player. B, the people who don't admire them because of their sporting abilities, but because of their money. Admiring an NBA player and admiring Elon Musk will be considered the same because they admire them for money, but not about their abilities, not about what they did, but just for their money and rich. But you know this is different. They admire money, not the player. Even if we are generous here and the opposition does admire players, they won't be able to like them because they don't have enough money to practice, watch their game, and etc. This is our view. Never been more proud. Thank you.
2 problems of government side's case and why they truly deserve to lose in today's debate. Firstly, although we agree to their points on sportsmanship and incentives of these players, government side still loses in today's debate because they prove no alternative in their side on how they will financially sustain these sport industries themselves. What does this mean? This means that if on Gov side's analysis on how these players will be incentivizing their sports activity over money, over the sport itself, cannot mechanize because these players don't even have the financial support there to improve the facilities and the environment these sport players train within. They cannot possibly improve the integrity that government side keeps emphasizing upon within these games they engage in because the climate they have to play within and to play the sport is low in income and is pretty in bad conditions, right? Then first clash on who provides better availability in sports. They say that sports will become too expensive for middle-class people to pay for these sports in the long term, creating more disparities, right? Firstly, where does this money for commercialization go to? We say that the money here immediately translate into tangible benefits for the sports industry themselves. In large sports corporations such as Red Sox, New York Yankees, 49ers, etc., there are corporations that back up the strategy of the sports. Here, commercialization immediately funds the quality of the facilities that members of these sporting teams can participate and practice in. But secondly, we told you that in our PM speech, we said that in our LSB, we said that it's not much of a burden that sports will become too expensive for middle-class people to afford because over time, if sports facilities improve and much of the sport industry expands, prices of tickets will go down because as the quality of the facilities improve, the sports industry has the incentive to lower the prices of these tickets because they are aware that if ticket prices are too high, they will not have enough funding to maintain infrastructure that is not adequate enough to increase or improve the minor degrees, the quality of sports on government sides. Then moving on to the second clash on which side better improves the quality of the sports players and the sport industry itself, right? A couple of issues. Before that, I'll take the POI.
What kind of methods will you use in order to ensure that there are not illegal things happening, such as the NIL, because they pursue money?
So firstly, we believe this is irrelevant in today's debate because we say that these illegal actions are less likely to happen on our side because we fund these infrastructures in a more properly manner way, right? We fund these infrastructures, which is directly in my second clash on which side improves the quality of sports players and the sports industry itself, right? Couple of issues on government side. Government side emphasizes that sports are not just about earning money, right? It's about fostering friendship, sportsmanship, etc., right? But the rebuttals here is that firstly, we agree to a certain degree that sport is just not about earning money because yeah, sure, sports are also about sportsmanship and increasing the level of friendship, right? However, the problem with government side's claim is that they provide no correlation on why specifically commercialization will directly lead to sports players prioritizing money over the sport itself, because this just undermines that sports players choosing this career of sports in the first place. Because why would sports players choose sports if they actually don't have any incentives to actually improve their sport in the first place? Like they're saying that these sports players will suddenly not care about their sports activity increasing, but just like directly lead this into monetary value, right? But even if they mechanize on this, the reason for why this is false is because commercialization doesn't directly lead to these players improving their skills for money. Two analysis over this. Firstly, the money they earn through commercialization is not directly going to impact these players themselves. This is what our PM framed in our speech, right? These monies are going to be inputted into improving sports facilities. Therefore, these conflict within these individuals members, the sport members, is not going to happen. But secondly, in order for all of the government side's mechanism to work, they need to prove why they have an alternative that could systematically fund these sports industries, right? But even if we bite the bullet, why does our side make this better? Firstly, we say that the monetary support and growth that is gained from the commercialization of sports will be used in improving the facilities, and compare this with the opposition's model, right? On the other hand, on offside, on gov side, there's no commercialization of sports. Therefore, it is inevitable that the facilities will have to become atrocious, right? Therefore, we believe for all of these exclusive benefits we provide, more than proud to oppose.
At the end of the day, the opposition government loses this debate because they prove why not commercializing because they fail to prove why not commercializing and continuing to fund sports industries will better benefit society in terms of A, increasing the quality of sports for all individuals in terms of viewing and playing, and B, translate into material benefits of heightened infrastructure and sporting facilities, and C, how they proactively decrease economic disparities between developing and developed countries. Furthermore, we've shown you today that continuously commercializing sports industries is the sole best way to raise awareness of problems in various aspects of status quo, engaging in both corporations and sports themselves, and galvanizing for socio-economic change in terms of the sporting community. From the get-go, the government side has failed to show us how they achieve these goals solely in mutually exclusive benefits better under the crux of our case. Proud to oppose. So two key points extracted from our debate and why we take both at the end of the day. So our first issue was which side can better improve the quality of sporting industries in the very first place. Judge, let us first state that the underlying theory of all this matter is that the revenue generated by the commercialization of sports will be allocated from the very first place and the very first time and from the get-go to various initiatives aimed at enhancing the standard of athletes' training facilities, rehabilitative centers and communities, and other facilities. And on the other hand, because government does not profit from these sports, there will be a deteriorating facilities and less cash or monetary support available to raise the standard of living for athletes' workplaces. This has two effects. First, it deters athletes from building more sophisticated facilities, which will lower their performance. And second, it makes them less motivated and incentivized to do so in the first place. So moving on to my second issue, which was concerning which side decreases the economic disparities in the status quo better. A two-pronged analysis of this case here first, Judge. So first of all, we tell you that commercializing sports is what garners attention of other individuals in the sporting industry themselves. This results in two impacts. First, it increases motivation and improves the financial status of various sporting industries and in turn their countries. Second, it promotes a more adequate sense of equitable improvement for the countries across the globe. Government never effectively responds to this point, and we have evidently shown you that we prevail under the context of both sides. Second, Judge, we tell you that there are urgent problems that are recognized in developing countries because as the quality of games improve from commercialization and systemic funding, this leads to the sports players to improve because now facilities are getting better funding and the game industry is furthermore expanding. So if the sports players' quality, if it improves and the records are expanding, there's a bigger likelihood that players from minority countries will also flourish within the sports industry. So what is the impact of this? A three-pronged analysis here, Judge. The impact of this is that sports players from minor communities have a chance of improving their skills, and then this leads immediately to more awareness into these indigenous communities. Furthermore, second, there's more awareness that is led into these indigenous developing communities, because then these famous players from across the globe will foster more attention for these developing communities. Judge, we clearly say that opposition takes this debate home because we proved how we better promote economic opportunities and structural change to sporting industries by raising awareness effectively in an effort of decreasing economic disparities, and B, increasing the quality of games. At the end of the day, we take the high ground, never planted to oppose as opposition. Thank you.
Judge, when I was young, I dreamed of becoming a baseball player. At the time, I lived with another family in America since my parents had a tough job in Korea. However, even though I wanted to go and watch a baseball game with my family at least once a year, even though I wanted to buy those shiny Dodgers hats of all of my friends who wore to school every day for my birthday present, even though I wanted my dreams to come true, we weren't able to afford any of this. At that point, I felt a sense of failure and terror that I couldn't share my dreams with my friends and make them come true. Judge, there are some kinds of kids who are worse than my situation. While this might look clear to the government and understandable to our honorable educator, we seem like the opposition doesn't understand any of this. And here's the reasons why. Firstly, meta debating. Secondly, profit for stakeholders. Thirdly, major clashes. Fourthly, world comparison. Judge, in this debate, we actually wanted more engagement from the opposition because they clearly lack engagement. They would never listen to and rebut and hear our point. To clarify, we already said in our DPM speech, which is there, they have totally ignored that when sports players just earn money so easy on their side of the house with commercialization, they don't have any incentive to work hard, meaning they don't necessarily work hard. Because the opposite of the house seems to miss the point brought by our DPM, we already told them that a few dollars difference from each ticket doesn't harm the sports organization too much. But rather, she already said that this organization can be more prosperous by having an incentive to work harder. The reason why the opposition lost in today's debate is because, firstly, throughout all the speeches, they never dealt with our push about how, because in our side of the house, players have more incentive to earn money because it solely depends on how hard they train. They does not directly reply to this by saying that more money equals more training. But we say, again, that to be more skilled, we need to create an environment where players willingly have a spirit within themselves. They also never engaged with our claim because they said saying that commercialization is gambling and therefore it's morally bad, meaning that they already admitted that our side is much better. And thirdly, they never prove us why being more famous as a developing nation is mutually exclusive. And fourthly, we signify a larger stakeholder. While they only focus on the sports organization, which what we have already proven is not serious, we satisfy the entire country, the audience, because they have more access, and the reason why this is important because we guarantee more open access and a brighter future for the younger kids dreaming of becoming a sports player. And moving on to my best and worst case comparison. And Judge, even our worst case scenario was more than the best case scenario. Because here's why. Because the opposite of best case scenario, while the commercialization of sports may enhance the quality of sports entertainment, the increasing cost will still result in exclusion of many content individuals. That ultimately leads to the loss of true essence of tournament and competition and the relationship and the criteria between countries and individuals. Therefore, even in our worst case scenario, our proposal is still more beneficial than the worst case scenario presented by the opposition. And Judge, if you want a world which looks like our side, and if you don't want a world which looks like the opposite side, we highly encourage you to vote for us. That's why we highly propose this debate. That's why we're bringing this debate to home. Thank you.